Hello everyone and welcome back to another CCLP4 video. I'm pretty confident in my commentary this time around. I guess it wasn't terribly bad the past couple videos, but I'm still kind of uncertain with it. But I'm a little bit more prepared tonight, and yeah, I had actually tried to record this before, and I had completed a couple levels, but I felt like my commentary was just kind of out there, like in comparison to the past couple of videos. That commentary was pretty bad. It was just all over the place. There was no consistency with any topic or anything like that. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of a better job this time around, and I actually have something to drink with me as I talk so I don't get dehydrated as I proceed. So we left off on Wretched Hive of Scum and Villainy, and I'm not 100% on that pronunciation, but it is what it is. I pronounce things the way I pronounce them. That's just how I am. So this level was mainly included as a dodging level. There's a lot of dodging involved with this level. It didn't do as good as something like, say, Technopathic from earlier in the set. This one was well into the not bottom 200, but it was well into the 200s range in the voting results. It wasn't really it wasn't necessarily the strongest pick, but this level is pretty fun to play. This section of the level is probably my least favorite, not on principle of being bad or anything like that, but you have to go through this like 4 times, and I think after the second time around it's more than enough in my opinion. Okay, sorry, 3 times. 3 times is a little pushing it, but it doesn't make the level any less fun to me. I still enjoy it, but it wasn't a super strong pick of mine. The blob on the ice definitely makes this level unique, though. I will just go ahead and say that right away. Okay, get that in there, and then get this, and wait for the fireball, and there we go. Has a little bit of a pretty cool tank block off mechanism. And such like that. So a pretty good level. Definitely very interesting and whatnot. It probably could have been left out of the set, honestly. I don't think we needed another dodging level. Well, I think we need another dodging level, but I don't think we need to go as low as 250-ish to get one. But regardless, it's in the set. I enjoyed playing it, and it's a fun level. It's more linear than Technopathic, that's for sure. Alright, how to retune your harp. Apparently it takes blocks, which was what the original hint of this level said. However, the hint was converted to a secret hint for CCLP4. But this level did very well in the voting. This was, I think, 21st or something like that. And it has a pretty cool concept going with it. A little repetitive, but honestly, this could have been a lot worse, and I appreciate the length of it for what it is, so I'm not at all holding the repetitiveness against the level. Oh, I can proceed. Okay. Like, the process of opening up all these blocks is pretty cool, how it works. And there is some slide delay involved in MS, so there's probably a couple of sections that can be skipped, but you have to proceed along the path anyway. So I think one way or another the blocks have to fill up the spaces. Alright. Moving along. Okay, these are the last two blocks. So we're actually going to get to the secret hint as well. It's not terribly difficult to get to. You just have to keep doing this. Secret password LOEC. And I want to say that password skips to 136, which is a pretty significant jump, but the hint isn't anywhere obvious in the level unless you look in the editor. But honestly, that's a little discouraging, and not really discouraging, but I personally feel like that's frowned upon. But I mean, everyone does it. I'm pretty sure, so it is what it is. But awesome level by Jeffrey again. This was his second and final streak of 3 levels in a row, because he had a streak of 3 right at the start of the set, and then he had a second streak of 3. So the rest of the set, there are at the most 2 consecutive designers. But this was a pretty fun level. It's definitely one of my favorites of his from what was it, Ultimate Chip 4, I want to say it was made for? Maybe 3. Yeah, that could have been 3. That felt like Ultimate Chip 3 styled level. Anyway, moving on to Fire is My Enemy. Now this level, like Tropical Hibiscus from earlier in the set, this is another level I designed for the Walls of CCLP4 Create competition last February in 2016. This uses the Walls of Jumble, and believe it or not, I didn't really have any ideas with this level when I designed it. I picked a theme, which was fire, and kind of ran with it and just filled in the spaces to my heart's content to what I felt would have been a fun level, and apparently it was fun enough to get into the set. Not that I'm complaining. This is definitely one of my favorite levels in the set as well. That is of my own creation. And apparently one of Jeffrey's all-time favorites of mine as well. I remember when he played it in my submission set, he really enjoyed this level. And an awesome pop-up wall usage right there. Think outside the box for this part. So the hint is referring to, you need the fireball to blow the bomb up. I mean, you can use the block, but you need the block to get to the blue key. And it basically indicates that you need to get the block a ball off to get the fireball out. Oh. Oh, I didn't think I had the fire boots. I completely... Wow, I am an idiot. I can't believe I didn't see that. My bad. So the title of the level doesn't really it's not really any significance to anything. It's a title I had in mind to use for quite a while. It was in my personal level list for about a year, and I just couldn't think of an accurate level that fit with the title, if that makes sense. And upon making this, I kind of felt like, this feels like a fire is my enemy-ish type level, so I gave it the title it has, and thus the level was submitted for CCLP4. Okay, now I can actually get all this junk. And we do need the block. And then here's a little nifty part with filling up this section with fireballs. And then we have this main mechanism of the level. And I like the way this looks. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had this idea that you're like in some kind of laboratory or something, and you have to go to the edge of the building where water's at. I don't know, I have little quirks like that when it comes to level design. Oh, did I did not mean to. Wow. I don't even care. This level is a lot of fun to play. I'm not gonna lie. My own level or not, this is fun to play. And the Sokoban here was actually original. I did not adapt it from anything, and if there is a Sokoban that looks like that, that's pure coincidence. So using the walls of jumble was honestly pretty challenging, but at the same time it was very fun to use them. Okay, there we go. I hope the bold route doesn't involve something like that. Another thing about this level was there was a couple different sections that were inspired by other levels. Mainly the forest floor part up there, and then the bottom section. And some people don't like this. I was just gonna say, don't make the same mistake, but I died anyway. It's funny, the other video I recorded, I solved this level on the first try, and here I am on my fourth try on this level. So yeah, the joyride of this section, or this level, some people don't like it. I remember when it was judged for the crate competition, that was the judges' biggest issue with the level, saying that it was unfair in lengths. And I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out how exactly it's unfair. Try to fill that whole thing up. There we go. Yeah, when it was judged, I guess this part was unfair because I guess you slid through the trap and you couldn't see what's ahead, even though there's a fire tile right along the same path. and you still have the fire boots. So I'm not sure what makes it unfair. It is a little timing oriented, but I mean, what joyride section isn't? I mean, let's be real here. Okay, don't get the fire boots. Don't go down there at all yet, because I need to get this red key first. But yeah, there's some references in this level that reference other levels. And finally, some peace and quiet. Even though the volume's fairly low, but probably can still be heard. This section here is obviously referencing Blue Forest Fire, which is a pretty infamous level of my own that a lot of people despise. And that corner tile right there is an invisible wall, as a throwback to Tyler's Tree of Life, which had a random invisible wall on the border. And Jumble was one of his levels from CCLP3. And then this section was inspired by a section from Mad Maze from CCLP2. I don't know why, but forest floors and fire have such a gorgeous contrast to them, and it satisfies my eyes just so much. Like, those tile combinations that are just so pleasing to your eyes, those are the ones you want to go for. And fire and forest floor is definitely one of them. Water and gravel is another big one as well. And in this section references Block Train from TCCLP Rejects. And then that's it for the level. Definitely one level I'm pretty proud of. Very happy people liked it, and it's kind of funny that even though I didn't win, or all 3 of my CCLP3 wall crate comp levels made it into CCLP4, I didn't win that crate competition, which I think is hilarious and a little ironic. I'm really surprised that all 3 of them got into the set, but I somehow did not win the crate competition. I don't remember who won, but that's water under the bridge. Alright, moving on to bombs are a beautiful thing, and they sure are. Of all my levels in this set, this is probably one of my best creations I've ever made throughout my entire level design career. This whole unique part with the blob, this little throwback to Nuts and Bolts. Did I mention I like having little throwbacks to other levels? Probably didn't, but I do. But yeah, all these little puzzles, they're not really puzzles, but they're more just like, I don't know what you want to call them. Specifics of the block guiding is pretty impressive on my part, I feel like. Not to toot my own horn, but... And this section down here, I am still to this day surprised at how this works. The original version of this level that when I first designed it, this section was very different, and honestly, that old section, excuse me, was very bizarre. It made no sense with the level, so I changed it up a bit to make more sense and to be a little bit more puzzling. So yeah, and I'm still proud that it works the way it does. Usually sections like that of my creation never work. And then there's this part, which is a little CCLP3-ish, some people could argue, but I like it. And then we have another block pop-up wall puzzle, which this set doesn't have enough of. I don't care what you say, JB. There's not enough of these types of levels. There used to be a hint down here in this section of the level that said that for this section, start with the block directly to the right. It was removed for CCLP4 mainly because the block that had to be pushed to the right. I just moved to the right anyway and removed the hint because it really didn't serve a purpose otherwise. The time limit of the level was increased by 50 seconds, and I don't mind it. I mean, it's not like a frozen over situation where I despise the time limit, but the original was 450, and I think that was enough, but 500 is good enough. I feel like it is more puzzle heavy than maneuvering through a maze type thing, so I can respect a 50-second increment to the time limit and definitely don't mind it. But bombs are a beautiful thing, definitely one of my favorite levels in this entire set of my own creation again. And I don't know why, but I'm really happy that both those levels are 92 and 93. Like I have this fascination with numbers that I don't really tell anyone about, and that's probably one of the things that got me into CC to start with. Kind of like how that Forest guy at 1033 Forest is obsessed with the MSCC timer digits. I mean, I was like that too when I first got into CC, but at least back then everyone played MSCC. Nowadays only two, maybe 3 people max play it. Anyway, this level is Ditchdigger, which I'm usually not a fan of these types of levels, but this one, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good level. However, it is my least favorite by the designer of the 4 levels he has in this set. This is definitely my least favorite of his compared to the other 3, and not because it's a bad level, but just because the other 3 are much more better. Does that make sense? Probably not. I meant to use the tank for that. And the hint just says consider every creature's behavior before deciding. I kind of feel like that hint is redundant because every room in this level is 5 by 5, or no, sorry, 6 by 6. So I feel like the hint's a little redundant because for the most part, nearly every, or mostly every room has the same type of monster. Okay, that was lucky. This one's not so lucky. I think the way this level's laid out with these linear rooms, I think it does well for this type of concept. Especially since the size of the rooms themselves are pretty small. Like they're small, but they're big enough to work and still be a little confusing. Okay, use the tank for this time, please. Then the ball, then the glider. Okay. And this is the real last room because the real last rooms are just kind of, yeah, a little underwhelming. Just a little bit. I mean, I like the throwback to the spooks at the end, but still. But that's basically the level. There was a version of this level that we considered including that removed this long path to the exit. But we decided to retain the long path to the exit, mainly because it's just like a satisfaction thing of, you know, going through a linear level that involves monster manipulation and just having a long walk to the exit as your reward. I don't know, some people like that. I myself kind of like it as well. I've definitely done it in a couple of levels I've designed. But we did have a version that did remove it, and I'm glad we stuck with the original, because I think it's better the way it is. And not only that, but it takes up the whole map, which some people don't like. But if it's just a walk to the exit, really, what can you complain about? It takes 5 seconds to walk to the exit. Okay. Alright, Ravaged. This level is another one of mine. Honestly, I love every level I have in the 90s decade. Like, hands down, every level I have in this decade is awesome. So this level uses a pretty unique design trope of mine, with monsters on top of weird shit, to say the least. There's gliders and walkers on top of blue locks, fire, water, gravel. If I could, I would have put some on top of blocks, if that was Lynx compatible. But it's not. You'll need fire boots to progress. The hint appears 3 times, because you need to cross 3 different spots of fire in different sections of the level. But yeah, this level uses the quote-unquote walls of Sapphire Cavern, which is a level I have in CCLP1. And it's mostly just that level in Rune, with monsters kind of taking over and blocks everywhere, and it's more of a puzzle than a collection level, so to say. And the whole idea I had with this level when I first designed it was, like majority levels I design nowadays, you'll need fire boots to progress. It was inspired by a soundtrack I listened to a lot of, and didn't get luck with that 50-50. There we go. I was listening to a soundtrack from Pac-Man World 3 that was from Ancient Catacombs, and which is like this destroyed temple type level, and the music of that level just fits so perfectly that I wanted to make a level based on it. Not that level in particular, but off the music. And if anyone's curious to listen to it, I'll probably put a link in the thing below. I usually don't do that, but it's a good track. And you actually can't read that hint yet. But some people have also said that this level does a pretty good job with hiding stuff under blocks, which a lot of people don't like. I mean, I'm the designer, so I pretty much know where everything's hidden, but I didn't put them under blocks to particularly hide them. Just more or less, what else do you have to try? And now you can read the hint. You'll need fire boots to progress. And then here's the exit. Definitely a level I did intend for some keys and such to be under the blocks, mainly because that's part of the theme of the level. When, you know, if you play any game and you go into this type of level or map or whatever that's destroyed in some shape or form, and you have to find certain things to proceed in that said level, there's naturally going to be stuff hiding behind something or under something, just off the logic of it was destroyed. and you have to go through rubble to find stuff you need. So naturally, I did the same thing and applied it to this level. Not because, haha, keys under the block, hidden information, bad level. Anyone that says that, depending on the level in question, it really does depend on the level in question, but most of the time when people say that, I'm sorry, but that pisses me off. But again, it depends on the level in question. This level in particular, I do agree it does a good job with it, and I'm glad most people can see that. And again, I want to thank Madhalf especially for giving that a 5 in voting, because apparently that's a big deal. Alright, lean thinking. So a lot of people really wanted this level in the set, especially before CCLP4 voting even started, or CCLP4 was even a thing. They won this in the A official set. And this is one of 2 IDA levels in the set. And like I mentioned in Sewerway, I never really got around to playing Ida's levels. Mainly because when she was around and her levels, she was making levels and such, I wasn't a part of the community. And by the time I did become a part of the community, she, for the most part, vanished. I do remember chatting with her once or twice on CC Zone or somewhere else. But other than that, she's been gone for a while. Gone as in inactive. Probably busy with real life stuff, because that's fine. But this is one level that a lot of people really liked of hers, and I definitely see why. After playing it numerous times through voting, and not even voting, but just, you know, going through the various versions of CCLP4 that we had created, and just to check for consistency throughout the set, this level is definitely very fun to play. And also a really thinking-ish level if the title didn't make it evident enough. Some people, for whatever reason, consider this a walker level, even though it's really not. It just happens to use walkers as a puzzle. I want to say we even considered switching out the walkers for another multi-directional monster like gliders or fireballs, just so people wouldn't consider this to be a walker level. But we kept them as walkers just to be respectful. What else can I say about this level? Apparently, if I remember right, I might not be getting my facts straight because this is about optimization, but apparently there is a MSCC bus to this. I'm not sure if it's MSCC or if it's just regarding the mouse in general. But there is a little bus to this that you can pretty much break this whole level by basically letting the walkers free and pressing the toggle buttons all they want, and you can still get to the exit even though a walker would logically be blocking your way to reach the exit. And I guess you can reach it by just clicking the exit, which, see if I can do right here. But I'm pretty sure it's only MSCC. I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, James found it, so I guess ask him about it. I'm not 100% sure what that's about. But it was pretty cool to see. Okay, Lockdown. This level I absolutely like. I'm super happy this is in the set. This is a level that no one but me really paid attention to throughout voting. This was one of my favorites in voting. Definitely one of my favorites by the designer. Be careful with your blue key. and it's just all around a fun level to play and not terribly difficult. It's small in size, it's not difficult, it's got a little neat callback to Colors for Extreme. Intentional or not, it reminds me of Colors for Extreme. And I mean, there's some pretty cool bits to this level with block guiding and such. And it did pretty well in voting as well. This is also a level that I managed to confirm the bold on, which was not really difficult, but it was very satisfying. It's always nice and refreshing to confirm a bold. And that's what you have to be careful with your blue key for. And then we can go up here. This part of the level used to have ice, and I remember the voting version did have ice in it, and that was my only complaint with the level at the time, and I'm glad the ice was removed. Well, that was by Zane Keeks. Again, I think that's his last level in the set, but this is definitely my favorite of his in CCLP4. Very fun level. When we were assembling our lists, I had this level down instead of something like Takedown, which was, I want to say, Zane's highest rated level, but we didn't include it in the set, mainly because it didn't really offer much in terms of gameplay, despite being higher rated than something like this. But I feel like Lockdown was a better candidate, mainly due to its size and the 4-color lock thing like Colors for Extreme had. I think the size definitely helped it out, and I'm glad I convinced the staff to pretty much be okay with the level being in CCLP4. I think it definitely fits in very well. It's very fun to play, and just really stoked. Okay, Clay Tunnel. This is another level of mine that I'm really proud of. We're getting to the levels of mine that I'm really proud of, just so most of you know this. So the whole idea behind this level was another block and pop-up wall puzzle, except this one's more claustrophobic, so to say. When I designed this level, it went through a couple different revisions, such as these paths between the rooms weren't necessary to go through. They were part of the aesthetic instead. And instead to get to all the rooms, you had to go through a teleport. But that ultimately broke the level in a lot of places, and I didn't know how to fix it, so I just decided, well, I guess we'll just have the player go through every aesthetic thing, because, well, I don't know what else to do. I'm definitely proud of most of this level. There's a couple things I wish I changed in hindsight now. Probably my biggest regret is not putting the yellow key in this room, because it just doesn't fit with the rest of the level worth that location. But I had a pretty particular block path for this part, and I just couldn't find a spot that I could have put the yellow key in. That didn't make it look obvious. And why did I do that for? My other regret with this level is that it doesn't require you to go through all the rooms more than once. Like, you go through this first room more than once, because you have to travel through this again when you get the flippers. And then you have to travel through the third room with the yellow key twice to get in and out. Actually, technically 3 times. But this blue key part you only go through once, and I wish I made this required to go through twice. But oh well. Other random trivia about this level that isn't listed anywhere. The title is actually a reference to another Pokemon game location, except this one's actually from the main series. It's a location in, I think, Black 2 and White 2 of the same name, but unlike my reasoning for Nectar Meadow, that soundtrack is a little mediocre. I'm not a fan of it at all, but the title just, it fit perfectly, and I couldn't resist using it. This one did really well in voting. I think this is like 9th place or somewhere along those lines. My biggest fear with this level when I did submit it for voting and when it wasn't voting was that people would hate the quote-unquote guesswork with the red and blue keys. However, I don't think anyone's really complained about that, which I'm happy for. But that's still a subconscious fear of mine, that they would think that's guesswork when it's really not. And 1 second shy of the bolt time. Oh well. That was Clay Tunnel. And last but not least to mention with that level, if you haven't noticed, I like putting pop-up walls under blocks. I don't know why, but I like doing that. I do it sparingly though, and I think this is my best example of doing such a concept. So with that, I think we're going to end the video right here. Even though I probably should play this level just to get to 100, but this has been over 40 minutes already. I think my commentary was a lot better than the past couple of videos. Definitely better than the one I attempted to record but didn't proceed with, so to say. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary and whatnot. And until then, we can go on to Ice Cavern in the next video. So see you later. Stick around and check back this video again within a day or two, and check out Andrew's comments, because he leaves some pretty insightful information that I don't mention, which is I appreciate in advance, Andrew. I don't think I've ever said that, but I do appreciate it, and thank you in advance for it, because there is a lot to talk about for one person to speak, and I don't think of every single thing to talk about when I play these levels, because just due to time and constraints and whatnot. So whatever I don't mention, Andrew usually mentions, and his own opinions as well. So yeah, look forward to those comments, and check out all the other videos with his comments as well. He's commented on every single one thus far. So yeah, until then guys, see you later.